Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that it is already March, you guys. I thought it, was Christmas. You blink and now it's March. Okay, goodness, it's just crazy. But no, you guys are listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, and Valerie. It is just us today, and there is a lot of writing things happening in March that we're going to be talking about. But first, like always, we're going to dive into our weekends. So I currently have a head cold from allergies or just sick children. I'm going to blame my sick children and Josh going out of town, leaving me with sick kids. And I'm still determined that he poisons them before he leaves because they always get sick. It's just terrible. So I'm going with that. So I'm battling that. So this weekend was more about like doing laundry and getting caught up in everything to get ready for the week. And, Meadow is going to be home. Her spring break is next week. So I am mentally preparing for that, hanging out, trying to figure out what all we're going to do. But I hope you guys had a more eventful weekend than I did. So Valerie, Russell, what did you guys do this weekend? Valerie, you get to go first.
I guess I'm being nominated. If you can tell, I'm a little stuffy too.
We're going to talk about.
I'm a little stuffy too because I went to the rodeo. It's the barbecue competition for the rodeo, and so lots of smoke, so it's okay, but it's crazy, and it's like a tradition, and so you have to go because it just kicks off the whole rodeo season. Oh, look at the baby. And so, but it was I was a guest of the tent for Houston First, and so they go all out, like no joke. They had ostrich, and then they had elk, el pastor tacos, and just really, really good stuff. So I don't even know. I ate way too much. Just they had really specialty little cocktails and this and that. But it's walking around. It's the walking around that you see. Just so many people just enjoying music and drinking and just camaraderie and just getting ready for the rodeo, and the carnival's going on. So, but I used to love riding the rides, but not after eating a ton of brisket and all that.
No. So. Yeah, no, man. Okay. So this is very un-Texan of me, and I'm sure I'm going to get hate from you guys. I'm not a huge fan of the rodeo. I never went when I lived in Houston. I think I went to one when I was in San Antonio to see Alan Jackson, I think, but I was really young, so I don't really remember it, but it just never really was my thing. I don't like crowds, and I don't like smelling like smoke,
so crowded. And the walking, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we got there really early, and we got a good parking spot.
I was going to say, parking's a pain.
Parking's a pain. The traffic's a pain. Just if you don't go early, just you hate yourself. So, but I'm pretty sure we were thinking we walked about maybe a mile.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was really cool. It's just fun, and you go once a year. So just if you don't go early though, don't go. You just not smart.
Yeah. See, I don't know. And then the night air kills me. The night air, I don't know if it kills you guys, but the next day I'm waking up terrible in the night air. Like, I don't know. It just does something to me. I'm like all swollen and stuff the next day, feeling like hammered hell. Yeah, and it's just because I walked outside. It's not because I'm hungover, because I don't drink, right? So it's not because of anything. That's just because I was out in the night air. It was terrible. Like, I'm just not. I'm not a rodeo girl.
And then we got Mardi Gras too. So
Mardi Gras, yeah.
So
did you go down to the Strand?
No, we have a place down in Crystal Beach, and so we go to the big Crystal Beach, and we're part of a crew down there.
Fun.
So we got that. Those parades are like just out of this world because it's a very small town feel, but it's huge. It's huge. It comes down the entire highway. So Galveston is not my jam anymore. It's just too crowded. It's crazy. But I mean, that's Crystal Beach. We can walk down the street from our house and join a parade.
Hey, but you can't beat La King's in Galveston though. Like that place for like chocolate and just confections is like hands down the best.
Don't go on Mardi Gras weekend.
Yeah, don't go then. But like I for sure, I mean, when I lived in Clear Lake, I would make that drive. It was like a 45 minute drive to La King's like all the time. And my dogs appreciated it.
It's in the Strand, right?
Yeah, I thoroughly loved that. That was like the best part of living there. Yeah, I'm telling you. But yeah, Mardi Gras, I'm there for that. Throw me some beads. I'm there for that.
So yeah, rodeo and Mardi Gras, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah,
I'm done.
No. Yeah. She's beat. She's done, Russell. And you're obviously done getting attacked by your dog, which was epic to see.
I just wanted to show you how huge she is. She
I
gained
love her.
half a pound a day. Can you believe it?
I love it. She loves you the way that she just stopped biting you after a while. She loves you.
I'm sorry there's some noise, but I had to be outside because she's gone wild.
Okay,
and I couldn't actually do the show inside. I got to tell you, I never liked the rodeo either. Part of it might have been because I grew up in Amarillo, so I was like trying to get away from it, right? But I used to always take the kids, buy them a ton of tickets, and do the whole carnival with them. Every year, I'd take them during the day when it wasn't as busy, and we'd do the whole carnival. And we would do all the animals, walking through and look at the animals. I love that stuff.
That's a great
that would be
at the livestock show.
Yeah, see, that'd be fun. Like up here, I guess they have something like that. I'm not gonna say it's a rodeo because it's not. But they did have that, like where they could ride like the horses, like the little ponies and stuff. I did take them to do that, and my kids are way more country than I am. Because you're talking about they got the shorts and their cowboy boots on, and I'm over here in flip flops. We're way more country than I am.
And there's a thing called the cutting horse competition at the Houston Rodeo. It's like $1 million horses competing. It's like a serious thing. I love to go to the cutting horse competitions and maybe the barrel racing. I love that stuff. And watching the kids try to ride sheep. I like that too because it's so brutal.
Oh, see, I haven't seen any of those things. But I am also terrified of horses. Like
yes, I am too, actually.
I cannot go by a horse. I saw my friend used to ride horses.
Dinosaurs.
They are, but my friend used to ride horses, and her horse had bit her for something, and that bruise was nasty. And they are bigger than me. They can lay and sit on me. No, and they could murder me. Like, no, I would rather be in a Shark Tank. To be honest, I'd rather do that. Yeah.
No, I'm fascinated by them. We live not too far from the Sam Houston Race Park, so we go and just go watch the horses run because they're just so incredible. The incredible animals
they're always trying to kill themselves. They are. They're always trying to kill themselves. And you can spend $100,000 on a horse. They cost a fortune. Walk out one morning and they're lying in their corral dead. They're just, horse people are like, you're lucky to hang around horse people.
Yeah.
They're either loaded or totally broke because they're horse people.
Well, yeah, but they love their horses, That's all their money goes to their horses. Where, like me, all my money goes to my kids and my dogs, So it's a fair trade. It's a fair trade.
So I'm very jealous of Valerie because though I never really was into the whole rodeo thing, except for taking the kids to the carnival, I was always into the cookouts because I love watching the way people dress to go to the cookouts. It's very provocative and it's very fun. And then watching about 3 hours later, all the drunks is very fun. I love watching drunk people make fool of themselves. So it's a lot of fun. The biggest nightmare about cookouts though is leaving.
That's what. Yeah, we left about 9, I think, or so. We couldn't do it anymore. We were dying. Our feet were dying. Maybe like 8:45. Maybe by the time we got to the car, it was quite a while.
Oh man. Now I could picture the people watching being epic. Like I can picture that 100%. Drunk people to me are just the funnest people to watch when you're just people watching because they wouldn't normally do that, and so I just usually laugh my ass off. I mean, they're epic. So I can imagine the people watching is great. But see, you fight the traffic to get down there, and then you fight people for a parking spot, and then you got to walk like miles, right? And then you do all of this in the Houston humidity, and that just doesn't. And I'm not a cowboy hat
That's
wearing
good.
person.
It's usually freezing during this time of year because it'll be real hot before the cookout. It'll be real hot after the cookout, but during the cookout, it's rainy and freezing. It seems like it's that way every year. People, and I'm in Atlanta now, people here don't even know what the rodeo is.
Oh
They don't
my.
even, it's like, I remember the first year I was living in Atlanta, I was like, it's crawfish season. And they were like, it's what? What?
Oh,
What?
bless your heart.
Yes.
Bless your heart.
Yes, that's part of Mardi Gras too. We gotta get the crawfish. We gotta get the crawfish. Even
Well,
I don't
yeah,
care if it's $10 a pound. We're gonna get a crawfish.
that's okay.
Hey, you're contributing to the season. Okay, you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing greater.
I'm a very
in the world
predictable
than
person.
crawfish buffet.
Well, a crawfish buffet? Is that what you
No,
said?
crawfish buffet.
Oh, I don't know what
Oh,
that
etouffee.
is.
Oh yes, bring that on. I will eat that all day.
Yes,
All
it's
day.
the greatest. It's either terrible because it's not perfect, or if it's perfect, it's the greatest food there is.
Oh heck
I don't
yeah.
know.
Heck
When
yeah.
when I moved to Houston and you guys were calling them crawfish, I didn't know what they were because my parents have always called them mud bugs. That's how I grew up with them. I did not know that they were crawfish. And then
We can't fix the bad things you were raised.
I'm sorry, my parents are like actual Cajuns. Okay, they're from Louisiana,
Okay,
but
so we win, we lose.
it just was funny because it was Josh took me to a crawfish boil one time at his friend's house, and he was telling me all about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's exciting! I don't know what that is." And then I grabbed one, and I was like, "Oh, mud bugs!" And they're like, "No, no." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry." But same thing, but yeah. So I learned
That's a
something
great
new.
story. I love that story.
It's true. It's just I don't know. It's just one of those. I'm not afraid to say things. I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, sure." My bad.
I
So,
do need to thank the people listening to us. We're top 1% in some of the podcast channels. We're very thankful and humbled by it and surprised. And we thank you for listening to us. Most people listen to us during the week on the podcast channel while they're working out or driving home. That's why we do the 45 minutes. That's like the average time. For a long time, I could not find us when we first started on podcast channels, but then Aimee did some things and even I could find us. Aimee, where do they find us on podcast channels?
I know, Russell. When you say that every week, it makes me really happy that you can finally find us and I don't get the text message, where can I see it? Yes, no. So you can go anywhere you can search for a podcast. My go-to channels is Amazon Music, of course, Spotify. I'm an Android user, so Google Play. If you're iPhone, iTunes is the way to go. You can go to Good Pods too and listen to us. But anywhere you can search for a podcast, you will hear us. Type in AuthorTalk, look for the crimson, red, and gold logo. That is us because crimson, red, and gold are my favorite colors. So you can tell I'm an Alabama fan because of the crimson, red. I'm just saying. I'm going to throw it out there. Oh, Russell's being attacked by his dog again. I love it. She's precious. I love
She
it.
is. She's got the puppy vibes, just like.
She's just like, oh, I love you so much. I love it. You're muted, Russell. But I was gonna comment the mic that you have.
She's so bad.
Oh,
She is bad. Every time I have to get up, it's because she's doing something bad.
she's just
Like
being
right
a
now.
curious puppy.
She's
Well, I
a
was
small child.
She's a toddler and I love it.
Oh.
But no, Russell, I was going to say your mic, because when you were talking and doing all that and you could hear the birds going in the background, I was like, oh my gosh, Russell could do like, what is that, ASMR with just birds in the forest sounds. And I would listen to that all day. Like
I could,
it's
except when a
superb.
truck drives up the side of the mountain.
Well, yes, but you could randomly mute that, but it's superb. I would listen to it all day in the location in which you're at. So it is wonderful.
The birds are out fighting for mates now, so they're all singing. It's kind of awesome in the forest behind.
It makes it more enjoyable when you're in the forest, for sure. Speaking of enjoyment, you guys, holy cow, March is insane. I feel like it's insane for me, but it's just insane time for writers. So those of you that do know have been in the writing community for a long time, March kicks off writing conferences and events. right? So mine is this year, I'm doing something new this year. Judith Briles has been on this podcast before in previous years. And so she always does her publishing at sea cruise and has teachers and stuff on that. And so I will be teaching 2 classes on there, and that's coming up in March. On top of that, at the same time, I will also be a speaker and a sponsor of the Women in Publishing Summit. So you can catch me on that on this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you are attending, if you plan on attending, go and grab your ticket. It's always really fun. A lot of networking, fun things to do. And it is their last year doing it. They're going to start switching it up and doing some different things because you guys doing summits online is a big undertaking. Like when I do the 12 days, it's a huge undertaking. And so the fact that she's done it for as long as she has, big kudos, and that she wants to continue it and just maybe do it in smaller doses. We shall see. But it is the last year, so take advantage of that. Go and check it out. On top of that, you guys somehow, I need to get up and show you guys this too. I'll do that after I finish talking because I have a just squirrel moment. Okay. Anyways, I somehow got nominated or an email. And these things happen and I generally just don't respond to them because, there's a lot of spam things out there. I got picked to be an honorary. Yes, that and honorarium, all those things make me mess up. But like an honorary person at this Empower Her conference that's happening March 15th in Houston. And so I'm going to be surrounded by other amazing people within that empowering women because March is, I believe, National Women's Month or National Women's Day. Is in March for sure. So that conference is happening in Houston live in person. So if you want to come and hear all the things that Russell says about me and see if they're true, you can totally do that because 100% they are true. I did dye my hair a more emerald green color, so it's darker. So you will see that instead of it being like an Irish green that I know Russell just loves. He loves
I'm so grateful that some of that green is gone.
It's darker for sure.
I thought it was Halloween again.
Hey, Halloween, maybe I'll do purple or I'll do like
it's spring, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, true. There you go. There you go. Well, he's the one that dyes my hair. I just buy the stuff and show him a YouTube video and tell him what to do. Right. So yeah, but all those things are happening right on top of all, family chaos and everything that we all have. But those are the things that I know about kicking off. I do know that writers guilds are starting to begin promotions for their conferences. So look at your local cities and states for their events and conferences going up for the writing guilds that they have. I know they're kicking off. Russell, there's one happening in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, is it happening this month?
There is yes, there's one happening here. There's one happening in, if you watch AuthorTalk, because of my algorithm, and algorithms run everything, but because of my algorithm, I get sent on my feeding page, is that what it's called? All the conferences now. Nice. And I always try to put them on AuthorTalk so everybody can see them. So there's 2 or 3 a day conferences around the United States and Europe, by the way, because we've actually posted some that are in Paris and Italy. And there's all these conferences, and this is the big time. There's probably a conference every week if you want to go to one.
Yeah. And they're happening all over. Houston, just because that's the closest city to me, they're also doing, one that's just for like romance authors, right? And that's Book Lovers Con. And then there's another one that's like Love and Devotion. It's a romance writing conference that's happening. I don't know if that's online or in Houston, but I've seen that everywhere. Like all those things are currently happening.
I need to post those on AuthorTalk.
I know I should share them. I need to share them. Remind me.
I think Russell shared one in San Diego also.
Yeah.
I would love to go to that one. You could do that, and then in the afternoons you could go surf. It would be great.
Yeah, you can do that. So what is it? Marketing World, Social Media Marketing World is happening too. And that's in San Diego. That one's always really big. That one's happening from Social Media Examiner is happening there. but just like all over. And I feel like there's like a ton more this year than there usually is. Like I feel like there's a lot more like organizations or just like conferences to help writers and to help authors.
Which brings us to the point of why should you go to a conference? You and I fight about this all the time.
We have healthy debates.
I know, and I love having these debates. So we'll turn to Valerie, or we'll turn on to Valerie.
Ooh.
Valerie, why should you go to one of these conferences? Because I'm going to tell you all the things I don't like about it.
Okay. Well, even I've been following the women in publishing, and I mean, goodness gracious, you cannot. There's no way you could do this much research on your own. It would take an infinite amount of time. So if you go to one of these conferences, you're going to be. It's like the wealth of information is just at your fingertips from the personal experiences of all these people. And that's like, even when people ask me personally, I'm like, I am like the finite amount of like knowledge of so many people who have way more experience. It's just Aimee has like a gazillion more things to share. And so if you go to a conference, you're gonna just learn so much. I would definitely, recommend that, because you can't spend that much time just like going down rabbit holes when it's already at your fingertips. It would be a great thing.
Well, yeah, but so here's where me and Russell disagree, right? I will tell you, and then he will come and combat it. But it's a great way to quote Sandy Lawrence. It is the best way to network, right? Exactly. And be a team player and go and meet other people, right? But some of them, like the Historical Novel Society, theirs is in June. And I know that because it's on my birthday in Vegas. And I'll be doing a 3-hour masterclass on Facebook, Google, and Amazon ads, right? That one's online, so I don't have to go. But they will, each conference will have different things. So like the historical one they bring in agents. And so you can literally pitch your book to agents. The Writers Guild, Houston Writers Guild, they've done that. And they've brought in publishers where you can pitch your book to publishers like small presses. So, I mean, it also gets you in front of the people that you want. Like if you want to have an agent and you want to go that route, which in my opinion, I think is the, I'm going to say archaic, but that's not the right word. I can't think of the word, but it's like old school way of doing things. I don't feel like it's as big of a hype, like I don't, that doesn't hold a lot of weight with me, but you can do that and pitch, but each one has like its own kind of like quirks and crumbs to it. But
Aimee, did the Houston Writers Guild have like where you could bring your text and somebody was going to like help just kind of look over your I don't know if they were.
I don't know. They do different things each year. Like they started with they had editors that you could talk to, and then they brought in agents, and they brought in agents in small presses
I remember
that you could pitch to, and so they do like a bunch of different things. But the biggest part,
I'm just so edgy, ready to jump into this.
I know. See, but Russell, I know me and you disagree on this, and I only went to these conferences with Sandy, who would network, and then she would drag me to network. I am not a fan of networking. Like if I'm by myself and I have a table, I am not going to jump out of my table and talk to you. If you come to my table and talk to me, I will speak to you about anything. Like I am really nice. I will talk to you, or if I'm presenting, I'll answer your questions.
Someone doesn't mess with you.
That's true. That is a true. That's a true statement. But if I'm presenting, you can ask me questions or you can talk to me after the presentation. But I'm not one to network. Like that's just not a strong skill that I have. So I just don't do that. Russell,
why do you think it's important to network in the book world? Maybe some people like, what's that going to do for me? Unless you're an agent or unless you're a publisher or.
That is such a legitimate question. May I answer that?
Yeah.
I'm like arguing against myself. Okay. And so, Valerie, legitimate question. There are 2 reasons to network. The first reason is because to introduce yourself to a community of writers is fun. It's intellectually stimulating, and there is a whole group of they're as strange as you are, right? Because we're strange people.
And
right?
Just that experience bonding.
You're strange like us, right?
Yes.
And and you can find other people as weird as you and have coffee with them and laugh about weirdness, and they care about the weird stuff that you care about. So that's one. So the community, I love the community. So I'm arguing against myself there. The second thing is I got my first book published the first time, and the reason I got to know Aimee is because I got to know Sandy, and it was because we were in before I was watching a panel at a conference, and they were talking about all these great things you could get if you got a publicist, blah 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 blah. But they never answered the most important question, because I'd already been looking around. Where do you find these people? That was my dog, by the way. She's being bad again. She's a bad dog. Anyway, and so I actually asked the panel in front of the group, where do you find these people that you're talking about? And Sandy stood up. I think she had had too much coffee at the time.
I remember this. I remember this so vividly.
I'm right here.
Yeah. She did. We're like, I would never have done that, but she just was like, hello. Right here.
Stood up right in the middle of the meeting. And great. So we had a coffee afterwards. The rest is history. We got my book out. We got to be great friends, the three of us. We started this show 9 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Right? That was all because of a conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I argue against myself because I've gone to so many conferences that I got nothing out of. But I got to tell you, that conference, I got everything out of.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. Like, I feel like some people can get conference happy, right? Which is just stacking an entire week, month, whatever, with conferences. And they're not like conferences that are like of value, right? So I like the conferences that I can purchase the recordings, because I'm sure you guys are like me. But when you sit through, let's just say that you attend, if it's broken into sessions like the Women in Publishing, you can pop around and attend the one that you want. But it's 5 days of stuff. I don't remember by day 5 what the hell I learned on day 1, right? Or if there's multiple classes that I want to go to and I can't. So I prefer the ones that I get the recordings where I can kind of relearn things casually throughout the year instead of just conference hopping. Yeah, instead of just like conference hopping, my kind of thing. But I am a huge fan of like, okay, so this year, say that you're going to put out 3 books. So then what's your ultimate goal for those 3 books? Just to get them out and have them quality and get reviews? Or like, what's your ultimate goal? Or are you pivoting genres and you want to focus on a new genre? And then attend like 1 or 2 conferences specific for that so you can maintain that the rest of the year. I don't like conference hopping and taking a lot of those, but that's because I'm generally the person that's in them and they're exhausting.
Okay, I have another question.
Okay.
Where can I go to a conference to find out about this crazy web link novel thing that's just started?
You know, I don't know. I don't know, because most writing conferences don't talk about it, because to be completely honest with you, it's like frowned upon to do that. They're not considered. Okay. So
yes, a lot of things that young people do is frowned upon.
I know.
That young people do, and they're into it. I want to know about it.
I love them. So you can ask Josh, like if Josh ever just takes a day off on Monday or whatever, I will have him on so you guys can do it. Because he will tell you, I am notorious. I have like 10 or 12. I have in between there of these different apps of web-based novels. And I am the sucker that will pay for coins to continue reading if you've really got me in, right? Now, if he goes on and on, I can tell you just wasting my time, then yeah. But
I don't think you're a sucker. I just think that you're part of the youngest
I love them.
Age thing going on.
Yeah, well, I love them. I've read them for years. And I will say in the writing community.
Been going on for years?
Yeah, yeah. But now it's more okay. So when it was going on, it was just you would throw it up on like Wattpad, right? So you have to think of it as like a Wattpad, but now they are genre specific. So you download the apps for those genres. So it's just a Wattpad genre specific kind of thing. But in the writing community with others in which I'm associated with, and just what I see from all of the contacts and resources and stuff that I have in the writing community, it's frowned upon because they're not considered published authors, because it's not a published book. You're publishing scene by scene, chapter by chapter, kind of like Kindle Vella did that for a little bit. They had their prime moment. So they're not considered in this room. And this is just these are just outside opinions, right? Like, this isn't my opinion. This is just what's currently going on in the writing community. They're not considered like established writers because of that.
200 years ago and 100 years ago, it was one of the main ways novelists published their novels. Novelists that are now considered that they walk on water. That's how they publish their books.
Well, but what would you call a blogger? You don't call a blogger a novelist or a writer. They're a blogger. They write a blog, whether it's lifestyle centric or family tips or whatever. That's their blog. But technically it is in the genre, right? Because not a lot of them genre hop, right? Even if you're a blogger that's writing reviews of the books that you've read, right? It's still specific towards reading. So I don't know. I think you would classify the web novels, right, and the Wattpads, as the same as like a blogger. That's how they're looked at, right? But like I said, in this other one, and her writing name is Melissa Gilbert, right? And I'll post that in the author group so you guys can see it, because I joined her Facebook group. She had to come off of her web-based novels and join like a whole nother site. But when she completed a novel, you have to wait like a certain amount of months afterwards. So that way the Wattpad or the web that you're hosted on can release your novel so you can publish it. So then you're a published author once you publish that story for others to buy and not just purchase scene by scene. So that's the difference between the two, just within the writing community. Now, that's not my opinion. I think anyone that puts anything up that is written, whether it's edited or not, is still considered a writer, because you're getting your thoughts out and you're sharing it with people, either it's on that platform or whatever. But I would classify them, at least in the writing community, they're the same as bloggers, because it's not a published book.
I have a question. I have a question. So if you have all these conferences going on, do you think they're better suited to just the published word, like as in print stuff, or would it be a good fit also for these web-based authors? Or what do you think? Is there limitations, or is there enough information at these events, do you think, that could benefit a wide spectrum of authors?
Well, so I think most people that attend conferences, right, and I think Russell will test this, are people that have a story percolating and they've written it out and it's in a draft and they want to publish it, or they want to get an agent, or they want to figure out how they can go about doing whatever they need to do and what's the best avenue for them, what cost is going to look like, what do you need to have after you publish a book, all those things. They're looking to get more educated in that because they're more further along. In terms of the web novels, I mean, I don't really know. So not a whole lot of people in the writing community that like all of us are a part of talk about it. Now, I'm 32 and I love them. I've loved them since I was in my 20s.
You're like
I'm a millennial. Yeah, I mean, I'm a millennial, but I've loved them for a long time, right? So, I mean, I think it would be great if they were incorporated into writing conferences, but I think everyone that writes on like a Wattpad, you can write under a pen name, but it puts your ideas out there to see how they're going to be receptive. So it's kind of like you taking a small leap of faith before full on publishing it. So I was going to say, if they're going to do it, like go to a conference, it's to full on publish that novel.
It's more than that with these, what do you call them? Web novels?
Web novels, Wattpads, yeah.
Well, it's more than that. When you listen to the young people drinking beer that are readers talking about it, because it's a whole group. They create this following.
Yeah.
And it's forming a group, and attracting a big following and then starting a novel.
It's like having a tribe.
Yeah.
A built-in audience also.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but most people, like, the prime example I can give you of someone that has done a web novel and it's been successful for me, which is in like a, I don't even know what genre you would classify it. I would guess it would be like, it's not paranormal. Like there's not like ghosts or anything, but there is like mythical beings. So I guess fantasy world, I guess is how we would classify it. But I mean, they've published 10 novels from their web series, right?
And there you go.
Yeah, and like they have their group and they would be like, oh, if you want to stay up to date or see what my envisionment of the characters are, join my Facebook group. I mean, that has hundreds of thousands of people in it now. And that's just from the story and the writing, and people really liked it. Now, I will tell you, if you see these like ads and stuff, and like I said, they're going to be where you're going through your reels or whatever, and you see text scrolling up and there's a song to it or some random video in the background, that's going to be to a web-based novel. Like they're going to be like, oh, learn more here. You click it and then like, oh, download good novel. And then it's like, oh, here's the story, right? And so that's how they advertise. That's how they get their following. They do all of those. So they do a lot of reels, as in like the video advertisement, to gain traction over there. But it does cost you money. Like the author, their story has to be accepted when they put it up there. Whatever web software, whatever that's hosting it, has to accept their novel, first of all. So they have to submit a couple chapters before to see if it's something that they are interested in too. And then, you have to go out and kind of hustle and do that. But then you have to have suckers like me that'll be like, oh yeah, $20, give me like 50,000 coins. Let's read this thing, right? And then, it's 500. It says chapters, but they're scenes, and then your coins don't go so far. And you got to buy more, and you get a percentage of all of that, right? So you still have to kind of get your hustle on, but it's all web-based. So you're still kind of anonymous and all of those things. But it would be like a minor step in the direction of like getting your novel actually published. You can't go buy them.
I'm going to find a conference that has at least a session on that.
Yeah, I've never heard of one
for the spring.
Yeah, because I've never heard of a conference that has them. I don't hear a lot of people talk about them, to be honest. So when you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, I do that.
And wouldn't that probably be a great transition spot for these authors too, if they want to continue that and then maybe go into a print, because if you approach an agent and say, I already have 100,000 followers reading my work,
Yeah.
So I have a built-in audience for you.
I think the cool thing about it, right, is on these stories, if you test it out, you go and you check them out, whatever you want to do, you can comment after each scene, right? When it's completed and it says you're moving on to another chapter, it's just another scene, but you can comment. So the author generally will go through those, and they're getting active feedback. So if the book took a turn and nobody liked it, and the consensus in the comment is like, oh, wow, this was terrible, why'd you do that? Then like when they go to fully publish it, they can fix those kinds of things. But it's getting active feedback from people actually reading your story that you don't know, kind of in live time. Because I do that. I leave feedback on them all the time. If the grammar is terrible and like I can't even get through it, I'm gonna be like, this, you need to have someone else help you, But I mean, other than that, I think they're quicker for me to read because it gives me a stopping point. Like, okay, my coins have run out, so I'm going to stop here for the day, and then I can kind of continue doing that. With a book and stuff, I have no self-control. I cannot do that. I will literally fall asleep and my phone hits my face because I just don't have self-control and stopping. So I think they're two completely different things. One is more amateur writing, right, versus the other. But there are some fantastic web-based novels that I've read, like fantastic. So I don't know. I like them both. But I'm a millennial and I'm younger, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But
I wish I had time to explore that because I just
you're going to Mardi Gras too much. Why you don't have time?
Well, I got this thing for my other job, and it said like a little like, here, we need to do a little employee profile. It says, what are you reading now? I was like, whoa, what do I put? I was like, on Kindle, on print, on audio. I have all these like books going at all at the same time. I'm like,
yeah.
But so to read one more thing, I was like, I don't know how I'd squeeze it in, but it's a great problem to have.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, so this is the downfall of it, right? Because I bought like a Books and I have a Kindle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because these are web-based novels and they're like on an app, you can only read them on your computer or your phone. You cannot read them on an e-reader device. Like you can't download the app on to read it. So you have to do your computer or your phone. Like those are really your only options on doing it. Like I'm sure you could do it on the iPad, but like those are your only options to get into it. So that's like the downfall of it, I would say, is that's the only way that you can read them. But I mean, I have, like I told you, I have 10 or 12 of those apps, and I'm probably reading 3 stories on each one of those apps. And then I currently am reading 3 books in Kindle, and I have 4 on audiobook, right? So I'm just, when one kind of starts to bore me, I'm like, oh, let's go peek over here and see if this one's been updated, right? Because that is one thing too. If you get into a story that is ongoing and you like max out and they haven't written more of the story, you're at their mercy as to when they choose to update them, if they even decide. I have read some that they don't even finish the story. Right. And nothing leaves me more mad than that. But that's what you're getting into. Right. So it's just a different playing field, I would say. But I thoroughly enjoy it. So, Russell, you should do that. You should.
It's the evolution of writing. Don't you think? It's just the evolution of writing.
I like it because it's a cycle of writing. Because this is in 1800s. This is the writers would write a chapter a month in the magazines, and just like they do now, the way Aimee described, they would listen to the reaction of the readers, and they would change their story based upon how they react. There's my bad dog. Okay, and that's the way it was in the 1900s. When things changed, and at the beginning of the 20th century, and here it is. With all the technology we have and the way Aimee describes it, it could have been 200 years ago. And I get out of it. I want to know more about it, because listening to those young people at the pub drinking beer and talking about what they were reading and how they were reading it and what authors they were excited about. They were part of these fan groups of writers. And I was like, this is something cool and new. I got to know about this. That's why I keep bringing it up.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, Russell, while you were talking, it just like, I don't know, it had like a light bulb moment, you're like, So I had to read and memorize Macbeth in high school. And you know how it says
that's not how you should read Macbeth. But
no,
that's another story.
I had to read it in high school for my senior year, and we had to memorize certain verbs or what scenes, so that way I would get.
That is such a bad way.
I'm sorry, but I have a point. I'm sorry, but that's my point. Okay,
you had to do it. It was a must.
So you know how like they break
my lecture on how to teach Shakespeare. But go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, at that point, I loved Macbeth. To be honest, I loved that. But anyways, that's besides the point. It's broken down kind of like how Shakespeare wrote Macbeth. You know how it has like a character name and then it's like them talking and it's like scene by scene, really? That's generally how web novels are. It is a story, but it is scene by scene. It's not chapter. Like there's no, one scene can be like, oh, we walked into the bedroom and we started talking and so. And then the next scene is like, and then I went and cooked dinner and so, where that would be an entire chapter of a book. So it is scene by scene. So think of it like how Shakespeare, wrote Macbeth and those kinds of things. It's broken down like that. So that's the adventure that you're getting into. But when you were talking, that made me click. And yes, I know that's not how you read it. I understand. But I am a fan of Macbeth. I did really like that.
Okay, that's very cool. You did that despite your bad teacher.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make it through high school. Okay. And my senior year, so at my high school, right? I'll end on this. I think it's funny. So at my high school, we had a taco restaurant across the street, and their kids used to go to the school, so they know the layout of the school. So my English teacher was always super cool. And so we would have tacos delivered to the door that went to the outside building. And as long as we got her a taco, she didn't care. Like, we could be like, oh, we're going to the bathroom, and then we would come back with a big bag of tacos. And as long as we gave her a taco, she didn't care, right? So my English teacher was badass. And
that's pretty cool.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Now you couldn't do that nowadays, but it was so much fun. I had so many tacos. It was great. But anyways, that's how I would view web novels. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you should do it though, Russell. Test out new waters.
I'm still exploring it. Right now I'm just talking to Aimee and Valerie about it.
Yeah. Well, we're fun people to talk about it. I love them.
Yeah.
It's a fun way. But Russell says we're 45 minutes and I am over by 10 seconds, you guys. So I'm going to make this ending really quick so I don't get the look of death from Mr. Russell over there. But we hope that you guys all have a fantastic Monday. This has been a really fun conversation. I like to kick the new months off with just us talking because you never know what we're going to get into. But we hope you guys have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. Go and check out some of these conferences. Look at local conferences for you. If you're interested in writing, are a seasoned writer, or just wanting to dabble and learn what new things are happening, there's constantly new things happening and changing all the time. So make sure you check your local community and city for them. But you guys, until next time, both of my kids will be here on spring break next time, you guys. So pray for me, okay? But we will catch you all next week. Bye, everybody.